How many times have you had a client promise you a video and they never end up sending it? My name's Sayeef. I've edited for some of the largest YouTubers in the world, made over 6 figures a year from editing, and I've helped over 300 editors get more clients and scale more consistently. In this video, I'm going to explain how you can get your clients to send you more videos, how to get them sending videos more consistently, and how to make sure future clients never ghost you again when they've already promised you work. So when I entered college, I had my old high school friend group. We used to all sit at a table, about 15, 20 of us. We were a pretty large group of lads. And over the first few weeks of college, people tended to stay with who they already knew. But over time, people would start meeting this other person in class. Some of the guys would get a girlfriend. Some of them would find other groups to get to know. And my group was slowly getting smaller and smaller. And the thing is, I was kind of not socially awkward, but I didn't know how to socialize to the level I do now. And in general, I was awkward. So I kind of felt jealous of these guys where they were able to find new people and I'm just here, like the last 5 of us, and it's just all the awkward guys, you know what I mean? So I'm doing like this ridiculous amount of research into how to become more social, how to learn how to speak to people, how to just become more confident. And it was in this pursuit of learning how to be more social, I learned a secret method that the most confident and the most social people use that they don't tell anyone else. It's called threading. And all that means is when someone asks you a question, you don't directly answer it. For example, in real life, if someone says, "How are you?" most people would take that question and say, "Oh, I'm good." And they kind of leave it there. Some people would say, "Oh, I'm doing well, what about you?" But a lot of people just answer the question directly and kind of wonder why the conversation has died. Or they'll get asked another question like, "Where are you going?" And they'll answer literally with where they're going. "Oh, I'm going to the park." And they kind of just wait for the person to say the next thing rather than them actively continuing the conversation. What threading looks like is you still somewhat answer the question, but on top of that, you also ask a question related to what you guys just said, which moves the conversation along. For example, in this case, instead of just saying, "I'm going to the park," you could say, "I'm going to the park. Are you planning on going as well?" And it was after implementing this into my day-to-day conversations that I realized everyone is open to speaking. It's just that I was the problem. I wasn't threading. For example, I'll be at a cafe and when the person asks, "Oh, do you want to do cash or card?" instead of just saying card and paying and leaving it there, it's card. "By the way, how long are you guys open for?" It's these small little moments of small talk, and then as soon as they say, "Oh, around 8, they might thread as well, but if they don't, they just say 8 p.m. "Oh, got you. Do you guys usually get busy around this time, or is it usually before you guys close?" Like, you're just carrying the conversation along, and the more questions you ask, the deeper into the conversation you can get. This is genuinely how, and I get this happening all the time, I'll go on a walk, I'll meet a stranger, and genuinely within 10, 15 minutes, these people are telling me about life stories that they've never even told their friends, and it's because of this conversational threading that allows me to get deep with people that I've just met. Because the interesting thing is, not only did conversational threading fix my social life, where I became super, not like the popular guy in college, but I knew absolutely everyone, and at a moment's notice, I could sort out a social event, or I could have like 15, 20 people hitting a workout in the park. I was able to organize these events because of conversational threading. It actually improved my editing career as well. Because what I found is to close an editing client by threading, you minimize the chances that they just leave the conversation. For example, if someone asks you, "Have you edited this style before?" If you've edited the style, you might say yes. If you haven't edited the style, you might say no. But you aren't going to get a response to that if they get busy with something else or they just simply forget to respond. And truthfully, it isn't really their fault. Because what do you expect them to reply to this message other than, "Okay, cool"? By you being the person selling the service, the burden is on you to carry and lead the conversation. Yes, they could have easily said, "Okay, nice, I have footage ready next week, are you open then?" But most people are going to take the path of least resistance, meaning if there's no clear thing to answer, they're not going to answer. So in the case where someone asks you for your style, instead of just saying, "Yes, I've done that type of style before," you answer the question just like you have, but you also ask a question following on from that. For example, let's say they've just reached out asking if you've done that style. Instead of just saying yes, you could say, "Yes, do you have a video that you wanted to work on?" Now, the answer to this is probably obvious. You might be thinking, well, they wouldn't have reached out if they didn't have a video to send. But by just asking the question, it gives them a super easy way to respond back to you. Because if you look at this from their perspective, it's super easy to know what to respond to. It's a yes or a no. If they say yes, then you wouldn't just say, awesome, we'll leave the conversation there. You need to continue the conversation through threading. So the first part of the message is going to be basically a confirmation statement, like nice or great to hear, perfect brother, something like that. And then you ask the next question that follows up naturally from that. So it could be him saying, yes, I've got a video ready. Your confirmation statement would be, awesome, I'm assuming that you want it done in the same style as you mentioned. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then the question you would ask to continue the conversation along could be, do you have the footage already recorded, or are you yet to record it? By you continuing the conversation like that, it's really easy for them to say, I've recorded it, or I haven't recorded it, and you can continue the conversation from there. So threading has helped me a ton with my social life and closing clients, but interestingly, even once you've closed a client, you still want to be continuing to use that threading technique to go from one video to the next. What often happens for a lot of editors is they will finish a video, they'll hand it in, and then the conversation is kind of just in no man's land, when the next clear steps haven't been laid out. Are you guys going to be working on another video? It's not clear. When is the next contact point between you guys going to be? It's not clear. And if you allow that no man's land situation to happen where you guys kind of just leave the conversation at, cool, hit me up when you're ready with the next video, it seems like you've had a positive interaction. And 6 months later, you might be thinking, I had such a good interaction with that guy. I did the video really well. Why has he not hit me up for other videos? You might be thinking that, but in reality, this is why. So after finishing one video, what we want to do is set up the next video with specific details. I want to know when he's going to hit me up. I want to know if he knows what type of project it's going to be. I want to keep that conversation going between now, when I finish the video, all the way up to him actually paying me for the next video, because that's when I can feel secure that yes, there's going to be another video there. A client is only yours once they've actually paid. You never, ever, ever want to plan your days or plan your weeks or plan your client roster around people who have told you that they're going to send you a video. Because how many times have you had someone tell you, I'm going to give you a video next week? Next week comes around, there's no video to be edited. And now because you've planned your week around that video, you didn't take on other work. You didn't continue outreaching because you expected there to be work. And now your entire next 1, 2, 3 weeks is fucked because you planned around work that wasn't secured. So a client is only ours once we've actually been paid. So we want to thread all the way up to that point that we've actually received payment, because that's when the client's actually yours and we can plan other things around it. So how do you actually thread from one video to another? Well, let's say you give in the video, the client's going to say, well done, nice, it's awesome. Instead of just saying, let me know when you have another video, or the guy saying, I'll let you know when the next video is ready. Instead of just leaving the conversation there, we want to leverage something that we call commitment bias. Commitment bias is the tendency for people to want to do something that they've committed to in the past. For example, if me and you, we meet in a cafe, we hit it off, oh, you're an editor too, awesome. Bro, we should totally do something in the future. We should like grab a coffee, or we should go out, hit a workout, something like that. Realistically, that's not going to happen. How many times have you told a friend, oh dude, we should go to Spain, or like we should do this lads trip? And there's a reason lads trips never fucking happen most of the time. It's because people haven't actually said when they're going to do it. Now compare that to, let's say me and you meet, we're vibing, we hit it off, and we're like, dude, I'm hitting a workout in 3 days from now, and it's going to be like one of those ring workouts in the park. Would you like to come? You say, yes. And I say, okay. So you're going to be able to come on that day, correct? Got you, man. Did you want me to pick you up, or would you be able to get to the park on your own? You say, oh, I can get there on my own. By you telling me about how you're going to get there, and you telling me in your own word that you're going to go, it makes you more likely to actually come. In the same way with the lads trip, by getting everyone to say verbally, yes, we're going to this place, you get people to commit to that fact. So by getting someone to just say, I'll hit you up when the next video is ready, there's not enough certainty there's not something that they've actually committed to for them to actually give in a video next time. Because they could easily just not send a video and then say, oh, I'll hit him up one day, which they're technically still correct. So once you finish the video, you're basically going to ask them, did you want to continue working on the next video? That's if you've started working with them. But if you're pretty certain that you guys are going to continue working together, for example, before you actually closed them, their expectation was set that it's going to be weekly or monthly videos, etc. Or if the conversation isn't like a new conversation with a relatively new client, but you guys have been working together for maybe a few weeks, few months, few years. In that case, you don't have to ask if they want to continue working together. You can assume that we're going to work together. But either case, if you can assume that they're working together, or you ask them, do you want to work together? And they say yes. All you're going to ask for is, when can you get the footage ready for the next video? Because what this does is it gets them to give a specific date. And now they feel like they have to commit to actually getting the video done to that date. So you complete the video, awesome, it looks good. You ask them, do you have another video? If they say yes, then you say, awesome, send it through, and then you collect payment. If they say no, you essentially say, no worries, appreciate you letting me know. And then you thread asking, when do you feel like you'd have the next video ready by? Then you get a date. And let's say they send you the video, then that's when you're going to basically get the footage first, look through it, collect payment, and then start on the video. If they say, I don't have the footage ready, then what you're going to do is push for payment first. Because if someone doesn't have footage ready, so they haven't given you footage, hasn't given you payment, they have no reason to actually follow through with what they've said. Because once again, how often has someone promised you work and then never ended up sending it? Versus how often has someone paid you for a video and then ghosted you? So we want to push for that payment as quickly as possible. But if we can't get payment, then we're going to look for other ways of commitment. So when someone gives you footage, that's another form of committing to the working relationship. When someone explains what they want in the video, that's another form of emotional commitment to the working relationship. So if we can't push for payment straight away, we're going to push for things like footage. We're going to push for things like emotional commitment by them explaining when they want to actually start on the video. So saying things like, okay, got it, I'll make sure that I won't take any other work until that date. You say things like that just so they feel like, oh, this guy is actually going to be negatively impacted if I don't give him that video. Now, in reality, between now and when you get that video, you have to be working on other work. Because let's say you're even making like a measly 3K a month, you wasting one day where you're not working is worth $100. Now, if you're making like 6K a month, one day is worth $200 for you. So if you're waiting 2, 3, 4 days without work, that could be $1,000, $2,000 that you're not making because of you waiting for them to send a project. So you can tell them like, I'll make sure I'm not working on those days. But in reality, you're going to plan around them as if they're not going to send a video. But what you can say is it cool we get payment sorted down now? That way I can make sure I don't take on any other work. So you collect the payment up front, because that way when the date actually comes around, you're the one who has leverage in the conversation. Now, the other beautiful part about this is, let's say that date comes around, that they said they would have the video ready for you, but they don't have it ready. What this allows you to do is follow up without looking desperate. Now, the problem with how most people conduct their client conversations is that when you leave a conversation in no man's land, so you leave the conversation saying, cool, hit me up the next time you have a video, and the guy says, cool, perfect. That's kind of in no man's land. Like, what's the actual next step? As in, there's no clear next step that's going to be happening. The problem with that is if you follow up on that and the guy doesn't respond, for you to continue following up on that, you're going to look desperate. But if the person said they're going to give you a video on a certain date, you now have both the moral and social right to continue following up on them. For example, let's say me and you agreed to meet up at 5 p.m. and I'm not there by exactly 5 p.m. You have the right to call me and to double dial me and to text me and message me wherever, because I agreed to me being there at 5 p.m. So you're not seen as desperate or needy for calling me. But if it was a situation where we hadn't had anything confirmed, we were like, oh, we should talk one day, and you fucking double dial me, text me on every social platform to meet up, that's desperate, that's needy. But if I've already confirmed something, then it's not. So in the same way, by you getting your client to say the exact date that they're going to have a video ready by, when you follow up 2 days before on the day, and if they haven't sent the video by then, after that, you don't look needy because they're the ones who said it. There's an entrepreneur, his name's Alex Hormozy. He does about $250 million a year, I believe. This guy, amazing entrepreneur. He has a framework that he calls BAM FAM. What BAM FAM stands for is book a meeting from a meeting. Let's say you end a client meeting or meeting with a lead, so someone who hasn't paid you yet. Instead of just saying, oh cool, we'll hit you up for the next call, or let's say you know you have a 2-call sales process, you end a call on the first one and you want to rebook them in for the second call off of call, like in messages, whatever, you're going to see a huge drop-off rate. For example, let's say you have a 25% appointment booking rate, like from 100 people you DM, you book in 25% of people, and you know you need to go on a second call to close someone. If you just let them book themselves in or try to get them to book in through DMs, there's a high chance they might not book in that second call, meaning you're going to have a huge drop-off in your sales process. However, if you just tell someone to book in while they're there on that call, basically no one's going to say no, because they're on the call, they can't just ghost you. Like when someone is on DMs, it's easy for them to ghost you. But when someone's sitting there on a call with you, they're not going to ghost you, because the only other way to get out of this conversation is click the red button, which no one's going to do mid-conversation. So we book a meeting from a meeting so we don't get that drop-off. In the same way, you want to follow this process when you're talking about videos. So book the next video right before you actually finish the full conversation with that video. Because what this allows you to do is actually get the person to verbally agree when they're most likely to communicate with you, which is while you're already working on a project, and it maximizes the chance that they're actually going to show up / send you the video when they've actually committed to doing it. So that's exactly how you can get clients to send you videos consistently. And if you want to see how I'm actually closing these clients for 1,000, 2,000, we've even used the same process for guys to close up to 10,000 a video, click on this video here. I'll show you exactly how I close clients step by step in DMs, including the threading process that I use. So click over here.